My name is Gordon Miller, and in this video, I will be covering how to get more reliable news. Due to the incredible ease of access to the internet and the nature of both social media and news organizations, news has never been easier to find. With so many different sites and people writing and speaking as if what they say is 100% a fact, just how can you truly decide who to trust? In research done by the Pew Research Center about where people get their news from, people above the age of 50 are most likely to get their news from news websites or apps. Taking that into account, learning about different news sources and how each one will frame a story differently becomes very important in the digital news world of today. In a media-packed society, it's best to know what information is viable to partake in meaningful discussions. Being able to check things like biases and misinformation can work to make you more media literate and overall a better, more informed individual. One of the best ways I have found to examine the difference between different news sources and how they cover news is through a website called All Sides, which gives you multiple options for politically left, center, and right for any given news story. This allows you to get a more well-rounded view of current events and open yourself to varying opinions, before you might only look at one source that already agrees with your personal views. Take, for example, these news stories discussing Americans' gun problem. From the right side, they blame this issue on mental health and the COVID lockdowns by the government. The center article explains that while Democrats are pushing for gun control legislation, they don't have any belief that it will pass. And the key to this issue is that both sides should play into it. The left-leaning article provides a solution based on wildlife protection laws, where firearms that can shoot over a certain number of rounds without reloading would be banned. It even comes from the language that each source uses to make their point. From the headlines alone, you can see this. If you want fewer shootings, ask politicians to back off. Coming from the right-wing news source, which typically represents the party of small or limited government. And then from the left article, you have, when it comes to guns, ducks and geese are treated better than kids and teachers, using a very shocking headline, which exemplifies the anti-gun stance of Democrats. The center headline is, Democrats vow to fight on gun reform, but don't expect any wins, which, coming from the center, shows how both sides are very divided on this issue. And the next way that you can better decipher news and improve your skills with reading is lateral reading. Lateral reading is one of the tools you can learn to better be able to verify what you read on the internet, especially when it comes to news. It is essentially checking information about an article as you read it, especially information like the author, sources, or even the website itself. Take this article by The Onion with the headline, New Poll Finds Americans Would Respect Biden More If He Shot Them. The first thing we should do is find out what kind of website The Onion is. And to do this, I went to the libraryofcongress.org. From here, you can see that this is a completely satirical website, not to be taken seriously. It's mainly for wit and humor, making fun of current events. Which means that if you see an article like this, you should probably ignore it, or just laugh at it. For another article, we can look at CNN. And they are covering a current event going on right now, which is Hollywood braces for a writer's strike that could shut down production on most TV shows. The same kind of strike that happened back in 2007-2008 that caused shortened shows like Heroes and Supernatural and resulted in talk show hosts running out of ideas, like when Conan O'Brien would just spin his wedding ring on his desk to kill time instead of, paying writers. To look into this, we can use lateral reading to look at the author. We can see that is Chris Isidore. And when we look into that, we see that he is very well known for covering labor and financial news, which this very clearly is. And with that kind of reputation, also being a senior writer for CNN, it means that this information is probably pretty good. This is pretty reliable to look at. Overall, finding who to trust can be difficult, but by taking biases into account and using things like lateral reading, you can be more informed and increase your overall media literacy. Thank you.